Welcome everyone for the Campus Insider episode where today I will be speaking to the Christ University students who are pursuing their BBA. If you are here, I'm sure you are interested in Christ University BBA, and this episode will give you a clear understanding of how BBA is delivered at Christ University, about their festivals, about their curriculum, about their dress code attendance, and a lot more, which will help you to understand why Christ University is the most preferred one. So, let's start.
Welcome everyone to the Campus Insider session. And today we are hosting the students from the Christ University who are pursuing their BBA. So we have Janvi Agarwal and Meher Singh who are in the second year. And we have a senior with us who is Abhay Agarwal who is in the third year. Okay, so starting from the admissions process to the campus life, to the curriculum and the placement, we will cover it all. Okay, so before we start the session with their introduction, I want to clear out the basics with with you all, making sure that you understand what exactly Christ University, what exactly the steps are when it comes to entering into the Christ University is concerned. Once I am done with the basic information, we will start the session with the introduction of a panelist. All right. And then I have a lot of questions, and in case if you have questions, you can just use the Q&A box. Okay. So Christ University. Okay. Everyone who has joined, quickly tell me in the chat box, Christ University, which city it is located. मैंने थोड़े time where it is located. Quickly. Perfect. Bangalore. Yes, absolutely. It's a university in Bangalore. Now, Christ University, if you're looking at applying in Christ University, you will have to appear for an entrance test, which is called Christ University Entrance Test. Christ has multiple campuses, absolutely, Soham. It is Bangalore, Pune, and Delhi. There are different courses available in different campuses. However, today we would be talking about BBA. So if you want to appear for the Christ University entrance test, the entrance test will be for 100. So there will be around 120 questions for 120 marks. Is there a negative marking? Yes. So that's +1 for a correct answer and minus 0.25 for a wrong answer. The sections in this particular entrance test will be English, general knowledge, fundamental accounting, critical, analytical, logical reasoning, mathematics, data analytics, and interpretation. Okay, every particular section will be of different marks or the number of questions which will be given to you. If you guys want to understand it better, I have just sent you a link. This particular link is free for all the students. You can just see all the sections there. Okay, once you clear the entrance test, there will be a micro presentation and there will be a personal interview which will be happening. Post that, the results will be declared, and that's how you get admission in Christ University. Okay, short and sweet, but I hope you get the gist for it. All right, now without any further ado, I hope everybody got the basic of what Christ University offers and information on that. Now let's start with the introduction for our panelists, starting with ladies first. Okay, we'll start with ladies first. Janvi, can we go ahead with you first? And can you please introduce yourself to the students?
Yes, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Janvi Agarwal. I'm from Bhopal and I did my schooling from Delhi Public School. I scored 96.8 percentage in my class 10. Then I opted for commerce with applied mathematics and I scored a 95 percentage. And I'm currently a second year student in Christ University Central Campus, Bangalore.
Fantastic. Meher, can you go next?
Yeah, sure. Hi guys, how are you doing? I'm Meher. I'm from Jaipur actually, and for my 10th grade, I got a 97.6%. Then, for a lot of people's surprise, I took humanities. So, I took humanities with mathematics, applied maths to be precise. And then, after that, I had a good run in 12th. I again got a 97.6. So, that went well. And then I decided to move to BBA. That was the plan, and that's how it worked. I applied for 3 courses in Christ itself. The first was BBA Central Campus. The second was BBA Decision Analytics in the BGR campus, which is again in Bangalore, but it's the secondary campus. And then I also applied for psychology and English, to a few of them. And after that, I was also doing I was also trying to prepare for IPMAT. That did not work out very well, but after that, I actually applied for Symbiosis and CUET, all subjects and stuff, but I ended up not even taking, like, not even going to the exam center because I'd already gotten Christ. So I decided to skip Symbiosis. And then for CUET, I gave my general test and my English test, and I scored pretty well. Did it just
Fantastic. Fantastic. All right. Abhay, can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Abhay. I'm from Surat, Gujarat. In 10th standard, I had scored 87%, and in 12th standard, I had scored 95.2%. So right now, I am in Central Campus, BBA, a third year student.
Fantastic. So we have two second year students and we have one third year student. The questions have already started coming in. I have answered few. I will be taking the further questions. However, a very important question, okay, which I wanted to ask all three of you. With profile like you, a lot of my students are also, having have similar kind of profiles. Okay, starting with you, Abhay, what was the decision making factor for you, and how the journey till Christ, you have achieved? What were the choices which were available for you, and how you eventually decided ki let's take Christ?
Okay, so I had done my career counseling, and based on my interest, we selected upon like BBA would be best suitable for me. So now when we were looking for colleges, so for me the priority list was like Delhi University, then Christ University, then NMIMS, and then Symbiosis. So since Christ University's exams happened early, and then even the results come out early, I had gotten into Christ in the first round itself for both BBA and BBA honors. So I got a little lenient. I didn't study much, but then still I went for the IMS exam, and then I also got into an MIMS. So I had a talk with my career guidance counselor, and then we compared the courses, and we found that Christ University's course is a much better option for me overall. So that is how I chose Christ.
Fantastic. So you had a list and then you decided on, doing Christ. What was your journey, Janvi?
So I also gave IPMAT, and my list was also pretty similar to Abhay. It was first IPMAT, then Delhi University, then Christ, then NMIMS, and then Symbiosis. So sadly, I could not get into IPM. So I had a choice between Christ University and NMIMS. And the reasons being for me choosing Christ was first that Bangalore as a place is very corporate and it was very out of my comfort zone. And second was the discipline factor that Christ always holds. So I know that discipline is something that people are very afraid of, and I was too, but I just wanted to see like how is it different from other universities. So I just went with Christ University.
Fantastic. So you went with Christ University having your own reasons there. What about you, Meher? What was your journey like?
Right. So I think hearing the other answers, I had a sort of different journey. So as I mentioned before, was from a humanities background, and I had subjects like psychology and sociology, but I also had economics and applied math, and then I had English. So it was a tricky situation wherein I knew that I wanted to do an MBA. And then if you want to do an MBA, you can essentially do anything for your bachelor's, right? But then after a lot of discussion with my IMS counselors and then people like my parents and stuff, then we were able to arrive to a logical answer, the answer being BBA. So then I had a sort of different list in my head. The first was obviously the aspirational colleges, your ABCs. Then the first was IMs. That did not work out. The top of the list on the second round was Christ by a huge margin. Then I had Symbiosis and Nirma and Tapni and colleges like that. So Symbiosis was in my mind. NMIMS wasn't even in my mind at the time because it had at that time it was involved in some sort of controversy and I had some doubts about it. That's why I did not pursue it. For me, DU was not an option. So my parents were like, we're more comfortable sending you to a different country than sending you to DU. So DU was not an option for me. But regardless, I applied for CUET because CUET was introduced in the year that we were giving CUET. So there was a lot of contention and apprehension around it, and was safer to apply for CUET. That's why I did that, and I was able to secure an admission to Mithibai and Nashi College of Commerce, which is separate from NMIMS. But then at the time, I was already in Christ. I was enjoying this a lot more than any course that Mumbai had to offer. So for me, the choice wasn't just the cities; it was also wasn't just the universities; it was also the cities. It was also the kind of curriculum that they had. And coming from a humanities background, it was very important for me to have a more diverse point of view in terms of the syllabus itself. So I was not comfortable with something that's purely based on accounts or economics or very commerce oriented, because that's not what the essence of business administration is. That's then BCom, for example. So that was my journey. It was
All right.
slightly different but the same.
I'm sure all of you would have your own journeys. Okay. That is not something which anybody would be able to control. It could be a possibility, priority, pe college mein admission mil jaye. And then it will be a good problem to understand where exactly to go. Okay. Now, a question to you, Abhay. You are in the university right now for it's a third year. You are in the third year, right? Tell me how exactly the first year, when you enter, how exactly the first year looks like for a student.
First year in Christ can be a little difficult. As my friend mentioned, like discipline is something that Christ looks forward to. So like you might find Christ even stricter than your school, but that again is a plus point because it gets you ready for your corporate world. I couldn't understand that in my first year, but now when I have done internships and I have been placed, I get to know why those disciplines were necessary. So first year might be a little difficult for you to adjust since you might be coming from different cities and you might be meeting new people, but then slowly, gradually, within the third semester, you will be all right. You will be accustomed to the whole environment here.
Okay. Janvi, would you be able to give a little bit insight on what are the discipline Abhay is talking about?
Okay, so talking about discipline, first of all is the dress code. So girls have to wear a kurta and a plazo or a kind of a thing every day to college with a dupatta, which is very compulsory. And for boys, it is shirt with a pant and a tie and a formal shoes. So this is something we did not like in the first year. But then our teachers always gave us this reasoning that in Bangalore, if you get placed and in a company, you'll always have to wear that. You'll always have to wear a formal attire. And it is for you to be comfortable in everyday life, is why they're asking us to wear this every day. So this is the first thing I would like to talk about. The second is attendance. So attendance is very strict in Christ. So you have to maintain like as good as 85 percentage, and not just that, you have to, like, if you want to get full 5 marks in attendance, so there are 5 marks for attendance, and if you want to get full 5 marks, you have to keep it above 95 per subject. Then it keeps on decreasing, like one mark. If you keep it below 90 to 95, you get 4 marks, and so on. So that is the second thing. And yeah, pretty much two major discipline factors in Christ.
Wow. So, Meher, further details on the dress code, please.
Janvi and I are in the same section, so she knows dress code is something that did not sit right with me at all. So it makes sense. It makes sense to have some sort of uniformity. And I was someone who could have counted on her fingers the amount of times I had worn a kurti before I came to college. So it was less than five, by the way. Not even for Diwali would I wear like ethnic clothes properly. So the dress code is there definitely. You have to wear something comfortable, no short kurtis, wear long ones. If you get admission, guys, by the way, make sure you wear like longer kurtis, not the short ones. They don't work. Nothing
So
that
jeans is
sleeveless
allowed.
works.
Let's look at this. Is
Jeans
jeans
is
allowed?
also not allowed. Not at all. Jeans is a huge no. You go with plazos that you find from Zudio or any other, like places where they sell kurtis and stuff. It is a little bit awkward to start off with, because for me, as someone with long hair, it was like, do I handle my dupatta or do I handle my tote bag or do I handle my hair all the time because it hurts. And so it's a process. You gradually become accustomed to it. In your first year, no one would. Also, it depends on the course as well. So there's a huge sort of difference in how BBA is expected to dress, students from BBA, and then there's a huge difference between someone from BA or even BSc or even BCom dresses like. So BBA,
Okay.
BHM in particular have a very strict dress code, and it's actually harder on boys because you have to. So something like a stubble does not work. You have to shave, and you see it's very common to find your guy classmates with like clippers or something that was like trimmers and stuff. So you have to. Your teacher will just send you out of the class to do it. But ultimately, I think I would be able to answer this better. It makes sense at the end, and you're also allowed to wear formal shirts as girls as well. Kurti isn't the end all be all, but for your first year, I would definitely recommend sticking to kurti if you don't want to stick out, because again, personal biases do arise. And then dupattas also, they depend on the teacher. So in the first few months they will obviously ask you to wear the proper dress code, and then gradually the strictness sort of decreases. But always, it's very common for girls to have a dupatta in their bag at all times, and for guys to have like the shaving razors and stuff all the time.
Okay. It's, see, a lot of students, for a lot of them, it can be a make or break deal, but for a lot, it is something which people don't really matter. So it's a personal choice. However, if Abhay, starting with you, I mean, we got some very important information in regards with the attendance and the dress code. Okay, the discipline aspect of the first year for the Christ. But what are the subjects, Abhay, students study in the first year? Is it completely different than what you study in the 11th or the 12th grade? What kind of subjects do you start?
I think Janvi and Meher would be like better in answering those questions because I'm not a NEP batch. My juniors have the NEP option. So
That would be the right thing to do. Okay, Janvi, starting with you. What were the subjects? Was it the first year? How was the first year like with the NEP?
Okay, so the subjects for me were of the subjects that I can remember of were apply was mathematics, business mathematics, then management and behavioral processes, financial management, and marketing management. So these are some of the major subjects that we had in our first year. So I would suggest that the people who do not have any mathematics background faced a little bit of issue with mathematics in the first year, but that was doable because Christ also had like extra classes for them, and not just mathematics, also talking about accountancy. So I also saw a doubt like, humanities students, can she join? So some people with humanities and non-accounting background, they also have extra classes. So it is a little hard on the start, but it's doable. So I think Meher is humanities. She will be better able to answer this.
Fantastic. So, Meher, would you be able to add to that, please?
Sure, I'll keep it short. The first thing is I remember crying. I remember sobbing in my 12th grade because of my maths and how I wasn't able to do it. And there were several discussions with my school teachers, with my parents, and my IMS mentors asking whether or not it's okay to drop math. It was at that point, and I had applied mathematics. And again, I think we were pretty much hamsters because we all, at the time, also did not have a textbook for applied math. I don't know if that changed, but so essentially you can, it's not entirely impossible. I am someone who had a humanities background, which I think in my class I'm the only one. So with or without math is a question in your interviews. For example, I told them my subjects and they asked me what I'm comfortable with answering questions, and I said I don't have maths. So I mean, I had maths, so they, but I told them, okay, so I, okay, sorry, let me rephrase. So the first thing was I did have math, I had humanities. So when they asked me what subjects am I comfortable with answering questions, I did not pick math. So they did not ask me questions about math. So it's not a prerequisite in terms of, oh, is it a make or break? Will you make it to Christ if you don't have math? Absolutely not a criteria that they have in their head. It's about your confidence, and it's about whether or not they see an aptitude in you. So in terms of how comfortable you would be in getting, like once you've made it, how comfortable would you be in attending those classes? There are bridge courses. There are bridge courses for both accounts and maths. So I did not have accounts. That wasn't a problem for me.
Okay, I think that
I
kind of
think
gave a
that's
very good perspective, Meher, to the students. Now, you guys went into the first year. There were subjects which you were studying. Now, let's talk about the faculty which is teaching those subjects. Okay, tell me how exactly the faculty is? Are they really strict? Are they friendly? Abhay, starting with you.
So it completely depends upon the faculty itself. Like I have met faculties who are friendly enough and aren't really strict. Like talking about the shaving policy, I had beard in second year. So some teachers are lenient on you, while some are very particular about it. They won't like you'll have to shave every day. So this is what the professors are like. Some of them are really approachable, while some of them are little strict. But you
Okay.
can approach anyone for if you have any doubts in the subjects, they are very much approachable, all of them.
Fantastic. So you would find, or you would say that when it comes to a student who has, let's say, students leave their city and enter the college, it's a very crucial phase. And you feel that the faculty is absolutely helpful, approachable. Janvi, Meher, is it a similar experience with both of you as well?
So I
Yes.
think one thing that's for I'm so sorry. The one thing that's for sure is the fact that your school and your college will be different. So I came from a school where learning and my teachers and my faculty were very very personalized. They would have a track of where you were going, what events you were doing, everything. But coming to college, what is a major change is the fact that a lot of the times teachers don't even address you by your names; they address you by your roll numbers, and that's I can't really sugarcoat it. It's the fact of life. It is how it is. But in terms of how qualified they are, extremely qualified. Everybody knows what they're teaching. You can tell that they know their stuff and they want to teach their stuff. And approachable, yes. If you have work related, academic related, professional, career oriented doubts, they're very approachable. Anything that is too personal, they draw their boundaries, which is again very appropriate for them to do. So I don't think faculties are any issue as such. They are strict, but they
They are
have.
okay. Fantastic. Janvi, any other experience which you would want to share?
So I agree with Meher, but adding on to one point, like in the first year, I remember because of a change in the place, a lot of people had food poisoning because that's very normal if you go to a new place.
New
And a lot of people were not actually feeling comfortable in Bangalore. Like it happens when you go to a new place. But the teachers were very supportive. They were always there with their guidance. They always made sure that we were comfortable. So, like the first few classes of first year used to be very fun, and it was more of like an interactive session. So, that is not an issue I feel when it comes to like joining Christ.
Okay. So students, just a good to know information. Whichever college you would go, eventually all of you are trying to tell me that the quality, or when it comes to the quality of education is concerned, it is something which is to the mark. All of you would agree to that, right?
Yes.
Now your relation with the faculty, or how exactly the faculty is, will be more on a personal level. Because at times, when you study right now, you would find that there might be a teacher, no matter how good she is, you just don't like it. ऐसा कोई है? I mean, do you guys believe what I'm saying is right? Do you find that there might be certain teacher, she would be good with everything, but you might not just like her? You are targeted, or you
Neither
just feel.
confirm nor deny.
But it happens, right? Okay. So you have to make sure that whatever university you would approach, the university is known for the good quality education. All right. And I think Christ really does that beautifully. We have definitely covered the discipline aspect, the curriculum aspect. Let's look at something which is a fun aspect of Christ. Okay. Every university is disciplined, but definitely has a fun aspect. And I'm very sure that Christ also have its own share of festivals, its own share of fun. So, Janvi, let's start with you this time. Okay, let me know what are the fun activities or the festivals which happens in Christ University.
So the two major festivals that happen in Christ is the first is Ethnic Day, which happens in late August or the starting of September. It is a very big deal in Christ as compared to other colleges that I've seen. So all the college, like whole of the college is decorated very beautifully. There's like a function in the auditorium for first years, and it is very proper. It is like up to the mark. It was way above our expectations. Everyone dresses very nicely. The vibe is very good. And in the end, there's a DJ in the ground where everyone can dance with their friends, click pictures, and that's about Ethnic Day. Then the second festival is the Christmas, which is in December. The college is decorated so beautifully. There are lights all over Christ College. The decorations, it is just unimaginable. I never imagined such thing would ever happen. But we all are just waiting for December to come to be able to refeel it. That's about it.
Fantastic. Uh, Anybody else would like to, kind of add something to that? Abhay, what about you? Would you like to add something to that?
Those were the two festivals that Christ celebrates, but the Ethnic Day is really a day which is looked upon by many students. And I mean, the other colleges students also try to get into our colleges for attending the Ethnic Day, but are because of security reasons, they are not allowed inside the campus. So Ethnic Day is a day you could look forward to when you come into Christ.
Fantastic.
These are
Fantastic.
more formally termed festivals as such because I'm sorry to disappoint people, but we don't have a freshers party. But what other things that we have that I noticed was the fact that there is never a day on campus. So I was someone for whom campus itself did not really matter. Like I didn't really romanticize campus life. But coming to college and realizing just how green and big it is in terms of how good you feel as soon as you enter the campus, that was a huge factor. And so the campus is very lateral, it moves in a straight line with different buildings here and there. So if you're crossing from the front gate to the back gate, you will not find silence anywhere. There is always some theater team practicing, there's always a music presentation going on, there's always a dance group, there's always basketball, football. Sports are a really big thing in Christ as well. And there's always something going on. And we have these two fests called Darpan.
Is there's a problem looks like for Meher's network. So okay, so basically what everybody is trying to say is that the ethnic day is something you definitely, we should be looking forward for. Okay, now let's look at the questions what we are getting. Okay, so we have got some questions here. One of us, our students is asking, can we talk more about the course structure rather than dress code and discipline? Okay, so dress, I can definitely cover that. Now, as per NEP, what I understand, Abhay and Janvi, just correct me if I'm wrong. Right now, every particular course, there is some kind of a credits what you would get. Okay, so when it comes to the first semester, there are some core courses, then there are some skill enhancement courses, then there are some generic elective courses. There is something also as an ability enhanced compulsory course. So can you give a little bit more detail on the core courses? Janvi, if you can possibly highlight a little bit on the core courses.
Okay, so talking about core courses, as I before mentioned, they always include financial management, marketing, and mathematics, these subjects. So the difference between courses and the other subjects is that these classes are more in number, more time is allocated to these subjects, and you have to essentially write a paper of 50 marks. Then coming on to the elective courses, we have something called multidisciplinary courses, MDCs. So that is choice based. So we have a list of courses and students can choose whatever course they want and they can continue to have classes in that course and write an end semester examination for that. Coming on to other skill enhancement courses. So for BBA, there are a lot of skill enhancement courses in first year, including say MS Excel, and there were a lot of courses taken up by the seniors as well. So to give us a better understanding and to have a more interactive session with them. So the range of courses was very varied.
Okay. Abhay, would you like to possibly add something to that? Right now, what exactly the course structure in the third year looks like?
Okay, so when you come to the third year, you are given an option to select your specialization. So mainly there's finance, marketing, business analytics, then there's HR, human resources, and I don't think I'm missing anything, but I might miss a specialization. So these are like the specializations you are offered, and based on that, a form is released before the third year starts, and you can select whatever subjects you want in your specialization. So based on the majority your batch selects, the subjects are being selected that way. So right now, since I've taken finance specialization, my subjects are global business finance. Then there's a strategic financial management and security analysis and portfolio management. management. These are the three subjects I have in my specialization. And the general subjects which I have right now is strategic management and taxation.
Okay, fantastic. So, Meher, yes, Meher is back. Where we were
Hi,
talking about
apologies.
the structure. That's okay. We were talking about the course structure for Christ University. Okay. Janvi has definitely given her share of information. Abhay has actually given a good perspective in terms of what exactly happens in the third year. What are the specializations which are available? Okay, would you like to possibly highlight a little bit in terms of what are the generic elective course or ability enhancement courses?
Okay, okay, got it. So basically, Christ in its first year, this is very interesting to me. But so we have a set of core subjects which would generally have BBA written on them. So subjects like, as Janvi already mentioned, marketing management, financial management, human resource management, accounts, English, a language that's option. I mean, an additional language apart from English. And these are subjects that everybody has to do. So, what the perspective is that before you pick your specialization, you have at least an overview or a general idea of what each would hold. So, we also had business analytics. Next step, we'll have entrepreneurship, stuff like that. So, that's the first aspect. What we call an MDC. An MDC is a multidisciplinary course wherein you are given a list of 50 to 100 courses
Am I the
to
only one who feels that the network is choppy,
choose
or
from.
everybody is able to get through?
I am also not able to hear
Nobody
her.
is able to hear, right? Okay. Meher, there is a problem. I think, would you be able to talk with your camera off? Possibly that's where at least the students would be able to hear you.
Sure, I'm so sorry. Could you tell me what's the last thing that was
I think you will
comprehensible?
have to repeat it again because the voice was muffled and we just couldn't hear anything.
Okay, okay. Is it better now?
Yes, it's very much better. You're very much audible for sure.
Okay, okay. So the first is your core subjects. Basically, the perspective behind that is giving you a general idea of all the spheres of business and management. So business analytics, human resources, marketing, finance, math, English, economics, everything is covered. The second is a value-added course wherein coding or stuff like C programming or cloud computing. Those courses are offered to you as certificate courses which are taught to you by people from other degrees. So something like C programming is taken up by masters of computer science students who come and teach us. So it gives them a peer education experience and it gives us a first-hand experience of how someone from computer science is learning things. Then there's something called an MDC, which was very interesting to me. It was a multidisciplinary course wherein you essentially, because it's a university and not a college, there's a million courses that are happening at the same time. So you are given a list of courses apart from the courses offered by BBA. So Department of English, Department of Science, Department of Commerce, Department of Psychology, Sociology, Economics, everything is covered there. International Studies. So what you can do is you can pick a course offered by any of these. So for me in my first sem, it was a course called Poetics, Politics, and Pivotal People of Rock and Roll. So a course like rock and roll was taken up so seriously with so much creative output that I was able to fulfill my creative aspects as well. So I could go from a class of financial accounting and then move to a class where we discuss about separating the art from the artist, for example. So in that sense, the focus that Christ has on holistic education actually is at the forefront, and you're able to learn a
Okay.
lot more perspectives to things. And that rounded sort of approach is, I think, what differentiates Christ for me personally.
Fantastic. I think it was a very well-rounded and very, clear information, Meher. Thank you so much for that. Now let's talk about something. I think we covered the admission aspect. There's something which I wanted to understand in terms of, in certain colleges it's called clubs, while certain colleges they call it committee. Okay. So what I want to understand, what kind of clubs which Christ has, and how, as we have one of the questions in the Q&A, what about sports? Okay. So starting with you, Abhay, what exactly the culture in Christ? Do they promote sports? And what kind of clubs would you find in Christ?
Okay, so whatever the clubs there are in the university and the sports events that are in the university, those are like after college hours or before college hours. So if you are interested in playing sports, you can definitely join the university sports team and play. But it would be all of that would be after college hours. For the clubs, like there are a lot of clubs in CUSB, that is School of Business and Management. So for finance, there's Acorn. For HR, there's I think Melange. There's Mirai Club for AI. So there's a club introduced like for every year. So they promote club cultures, and you can join in the club in the first year. You can participate, and then later on become the core committee or the head of those clubs in third year.
Okay. So you would be able to be the head only in the third year. I think this is something which is followed
Correct.
by all the possible colleges and universities.
Correct.
Uh,
Correct.
Fantastic. So are you all are the member, whatever member you want to be, you would be free to kind of be a part of that particular club.
So there's a selection process. So they each head would release the forms in the first year. There would be an orientation about each and every club in the first year itself. And based on your interest, you can apply to the forms. And then there will be a selection process for you getting a member, becoming a member in those clubs. Also, to add on to a question, uh, I add on to something. I saw a question related to specialization. I think one of the students asked that if is there a cutoff for finance? So there's no cutoff for finance. You can choose whatever specialization you want. Even if the whole batches chooses finance, the university will provide uh, finance to every student available.
Okay. And your specialization is finance.
Correct.
Fantastic. Janvi, would you like to add anything to the information which Abhay have provided about the clubs and the committees?
So one major thing I would like to add is that the clubs are divided into two parts. One is the university level clubs and one is the department level clubs. You can be a part of both the levels, but the work will be more. So university also has its different sports club, including badminton, football, cricket, all sorts of clubs. Then the department also has SOC, sports club, along with other clubs such as Abhay already mentioned, debating club, then arts and literature, dance club, and other specialization clubs such as HR, finance, marketing, and of such sort. So that's one reason.
All right. Meher, your point of view on this? Any information you would
I
like to add which
think,
is
I think
missed?
they covered it. They covered it.
It's everything is covered. Fantastic. Now let's look at, as we are coming to the end of our webinar, we also have to address a very important aspect, which is placement. Okay. And before we do that, let's quickly understand the questions we are getting in the Q&A. Okay. Soumya is asking, the entrance test will be online or offline. Okay. So for CU, as in which is Christ University entrance test, last year it was offline. There were certain centers which were allocated and the student had to go to the center to give the entrance test. So it is offline. It was offline last year, but last year it was online. Okay. So this year we will have to wait for the Christ University to kind of roll out how they would be rolling out their entrance test. Somebody has also asked when they were filling the registration form in terms of the entrance test. I just have the question here and I would like to address that particular question, which was okay, I think I've missed that question. I did kind of write it somewhere. Uh, okay, we have the next question, which is there a specific subject to focus in the entrance test? Viraj, entrance test structure divided in such a manner where if you see the document which I have shared with you, the entrance test structure is divided into English as 25, number of questions with 25 marks, general knowledge as 20, fundamental accounting as 10. Now, I think you here need to make sure that you approach the section which is of highest marks, which would be provided to you, which is English. So with fundamental accounting, 10 marks, you can afford, because there is no sectional cutoff here. You can afford to lose out on that 10, but all the sections are equally important if you're looking at scoring. Because if you see the kind of students we have, they all are 90 plus. Okay. You would have competition. So you will have to make sure that you are preparing well for your entrance test. So nothing can be taken, or not really been prepared for in terms of section is concerned. When will the first
Also, can
round?
I add something?
Sure, go ahead, Meher.
Okay, so I think one thing that a lot of students in 12th miss out on in terms of Christ being different from other entrance tests is the fact that for a lot of other same tiered colleges, the process is your entrance test, you have a certain cutoff to clear, and then you get passed on to the interview rounds. For Christ, that is not the case. I'll turn off my camera. I think I'm going to lag again. But for Christ, the point is everybody who gives the entrance test is given a link for an interview. So the process here is they don't want to define you by just a mark or a cutoff. That there's no elimination in that sense. It's a rounded process wherein you give your entrance test, you get a certain mark. That's also, they don't release any official cutoffs. It is up to them. Then you have an interview and your micro presentation at the same time. So interviews would be structured. You can either guide the interview yourself by, shaping how the next question would be formed, or you would let them ask you questions. This can also be this will be both personal question and subject related questions. If you're lucky, they will let you pick and choose what subjects you want to talk about. If you're not, they will at least ask you from the subjects that you've picked, in case they don't specify it to them that I did not have this subject, and then try answer. Then the third aspect of the interview itself was a micro presentation. This is something that was a very gray area for me. For example, it could be anything. They would ask you to on any topic for a minute. This could be related to geopolitics. This could be related to any current news. This could be related to, for me, for Psych English, it was about the research that I had read. For the BBA Central Campus course in Bannerghatta, it was about applying matrices and determinants in real life. So it could genuinely be anything. What could help you out is the Christ official website release a sheet or a sort of document for micro presentation topics for MBA students. So it wouldn't, I do not guarantee this at all that the topics would be from that itself, because if that is the list is for MBA students. But what it could help you out with is getting a general framework on the type of topics that exist. So there the focus is more about your confidence and your grab on the language, and if there are any facts that could be presented that you know. That's more or less about the interview process. That I think is more important than even the entrance test, which is commonly misunderstood. Then for our batch, because we were the COVID admissions, we did not have a group discussion because it had to be done online. But for the successive batch, there was a group discussion. I think ma'am would be able to guide you better on that, because I did not personally go through that process.
Uh, Thank you so much, Meher. I think that was very detailed. When it comes to group discussions, now I think it was happening during COVID, but now there is no group discussions. What happens is once you get into the PI, there will be a topic which will be provided to you. You will be given certain time to think, and then what it is called is a micro presentation. Okay, the topics are provided in terms of list, but if you're not comfortable with the topic, you always have the opportunity and option to tell the person that I would like to speak about some other topic. The topics are also given based on what your interest and what kind of subjects you have taken, which is very much you will be studying in your 10th and 12th. Okay, I hope that kind of gives a clarity to to you all in terms of what to expect from PI, because a lot of you who would be reaching to the point of I think it's a nervousness which kind of takes over. Okay, so let's look at the other questions we are getting here. When will the first round be held for BBA at Christ? Christ will be starting with their first round, as in terms of the form filling, it will start in the month of January. Normally, it is maximum in terms of January. They would declare and they would kind of let us know about the application when it will be starting, and the rounds are declared later on. Okay. What percentage in 12th will be considered pretty good? So, students, let me tell you, with Christ, there is a criteria. If you want to appear for the entrance test, because that is the only way you can get admission in Christ, you need to have a minimum. When I say minimum, it is a like a a gate which is 60% marks with particular subjects, with math, stats, and eco. So specific specialization would require that, but when you're filling the form, this is the requirement. Okay, but when it comes to your percentage is concerned, percentage is not something which you really don't have to worry. Only for certain specialization you will have to look for that particular percentage. Okay, when are the applications open? We will have to wait till January. They would be declaring the out, the dates when the application would be open in January month. Normally, by January, the applications are open. Okay, and by March and April, the entrance exam starts. So there are three attempts which you would be able to give, and they would consider the best of the attempt for you. Okay, so the results are published after each round, and admission is offered after each round. There are certain courses like fine arts and humanities where there is no PI and no entrance test which is required. Okay, just to give you a little heads up on the university. Okay, now let's talk about placement. That is the last leg of this particular, students are looking forward to listen about it. Abhay, would you be able to help us when and how exactly placement works with Christ University?
Okay, so as soon as you enter your third year, the placement process starts. So there will be a Google form or a survey which would be released by the university, wherein they'll be asking you whether you want to sit for placements or not. Once you have entered yes, then only you can sit for placements. And it's like each and every other day, there's a company coming into campus for, recruiting students. So there's a group made, a WhatsApp official group made wherein the point of contact, the details about the company, and there's a proper pre-placement talk done by the company to tell about the role, about the salary they'll be offering, and how the process is going to be for the recruitments. So the process for recruitment is different for different companies, and yeah, that's it. Also, Christ has its brand name, so there's a lot of good companies coming into the college. I could name some companies which have already been here. So for all the big fours have already been here. That is Deloitte, then KPMG, then EY, then PwC. There's also JP Morgan which have come. There's Sato, there's Urban Company, there's Stress Vista. So these companies have already come and recruited some of the students in our batch. Also, the companies which come is from all like they recruit from all the campuses. It won't be from a specific campus. Like I'm from Central Campus, so it recruits from across all the campuses. So you won't be just competing with your batch or the campus you are in, but with the entire Christ University.
Fantastic. Just a question, okay? Campus placement doesn't really end with the company coming and you giving, you kind of applying for it. There is a process where a person has to be prepared in terms of the communication, in terms of prep. Is there any support which the college offers students, Abhay, to make sure that they crack the placement?
So this year, what happened was initially the companies came, like in the very early stage, companies came, they took the recruitment processes, and later a form was released by the placement cell, and they had taken feedback from us about how could they improve the placement process, like how could they help you with any of the processes, like for like aptitude test or interview processes. So they, after the forms were taken, there were sessions taken for the improvements, for like helping you with the interviews, how to crack your interview or how to prepare for aptitude. So
Even
I
before this, when we were in our second year, like right now, we got a pan university workshop for soft skills, for example. Soft skills are really, really a huge focus in Christ as well. And those are open for all. So it makes you, Christ has its own mechanisms to make you placement ready because they also have a certain reputation to uphold, which keeps improving by the year. So, yes, just wanted to add.
Great. Abhay, you were saying something. Can you please continue?
Yeah, so I mean, the sessions which are provided are based on our feedback, and if you are facing any difficulties in, any of the processes, you could always contact the placement cell, and they'll help you with preparing for that.
Fantastic. So when it
Also,
comes
I would like to add on, like recently, Christ had partnered with Coursera and had given us a 8 or 9 month subscription at a really cheap price. So they did that so that we could build on our skills and be a little more able.
that is very nice. That is really good. And this was something which was provided for all the students.
Yeah, I mean, it was first come, first serve basis. So it was, I think, for around the first 100 students. Also, the finance students have a compulsion to do a Bloomberg course. So that also adds to our CV.
That is very interesting. Fantastic. Janvi, you are quiet for a long time. Do you want to add anything which Meher and Abhay have informed us?
So, apart from placements, I also want to talk about the internships that happen in the end of second year. That is also like a very major factor. So, you have to do a summer internship that is compulsory in the end of second year. So, for that, also the companies come. And for that, also the same process happens. Google Forms are sent. And there are also surveys regarding what do we need. So, resume building and soft skills development, as Meha mentioned. So these activities happen in second year as well.
Okay, so it's something which is happening in the second year as well. So internships and
Yes.
placement is something which we understand that Christ University takes pretty seriously.
Yes.
Fantastic. I think out of all the seriousness, there's one student asking about where do you guys hang out after college with after so many studies. Please, Janvi, go ahead and please answer that.
In the first year, it was pretty hectic because the college timings were 9 to 4, and attendance is a big issue in Christ. So you actually have to maintain a very good percentage in attendance. So after 4, you're free to do anything. In the first year, it's pretty much chill and you have time to explore a lot of things. In second year, I would say that the timings are also less. In second year, the timings are from 7 to 12. So after that, we can opt to do a lot of varied courses, internships, and stuff. So eventually, you'll get adjusted and you'll find time to hang out and you'll know what you like. But in the starting, it's a little overwhelming, but I feel like you'll get adjusted.
Okay, so students eventually will get adjusted.
Yes, yes.
Fantastic. Anything who would like to add something, some hangout places? Because now I think everybody has decided and they kind of came to realize that there is hostel as well, and there are a lot of questions which is coming for hostels. So anything would like you guys would like to add, Abhay or Meher, about the hangout places, about where students you guys normally go, and what is the fun aspect in terms of the campus?
I think more important than where you could hang out, because that's something which is subjective. You could, come here and explore for yourself. The college does have good food options, both healthy and junk, and like actual real South Indian food or cup noodles. But more importantly is the difference between a hostel and a PG. So Christ, I'm talking about the central campus. It's made in such a way that the campus essentially moves laterally like this, and all of the surrounding areas close to front gate, back gate, everywhere around is just PGs and flats. First year would definitely, okay. So if you're not Christian or you're not Malayali and you have not lived in Bangalore, I would personally recommend a PG over a hostel anytime. It gives you a lot more flexibility, it gives you a lot more freedom, and it's not bad at all. It's a much better experience. I'm in my PG room right now. The only thing that's iffy are these yellow walls. For some reason, all of the PGs around us have yellow walls, but apart from that, everything is pretty nice. I would recommend PGs over hostels if you do not fit those criteria, because your food and everything and how you adjust to the surrounding would change. So PGs here are a lot more accommodative. If someone is seriously writing it down, write a couple of names. There's My Roomie for girls, there's Stanza for boys and girls, there's Serenity. These are all like the big 3 4 hubs or PG organizations which have multiple branches. So you should definitely explore here. Flats and all, I think that should be your personal call, but for your first year as a bachelor student, I personally would not recommend it, as fun as it sounds.
Okay, hostel doesn't. So you're saying hostel is not fun?
I haven't personally been, but it is, in terms of adaptability and how well you adjust to it, it's a big difference because it caters to a certain kind of people. Because it's not a secular organization, right? It's a convent, missionary led place. So they have their own set of values.
Okay. While I ask questions to Janvi and Abhay on this, can you please write down the names in the chat box, Meher? Because
Sure.
Shuffle is asking the names to repeat the names again, but I think it will be helpful for all of them if you can
Sure.
just mention it in the chat box. Abhay, what exactly your experience has been when it comes to PG and hostel?
I definitely would prefer a PG over in a hostel. There are a lot of restrictions in hostels, and I just don't like those restrictions. Also, the hangout places differ. Like we are from Central Campus. Central Campus is huge. It's a huge campus. You can hang out on. There are a lot of hangout places inside the campus as well. Recently, a cafe was opened near the Birds Park, and it's really good. Then there's
Oh,
Banata campus in Bangalore, which is literally just a huge building. So I don't know about much about all the other three campuses, but yeah, the hangout places and PG and hostel experience would differ according to the areas or the campuses you get into.
Okay. Janvi, any input from your end? Have you experienced the same, or you have had a different experience?
So I haven't lived in a PG or a hostel. I lived in a flat from the starting with my sister. So I would also like to tell that for the localites, traveling can be an issue to Christ because there is not much connectivity to the area. So that is one issue. But apart from that, like flat is nice. I would not recommend it for first years with friends because you don't have any friends in the starting of the first year. But in the end of second year and the start of second year, you can always opt for plan.
Fantastic. I think we have covered all the possible aspects. Janvi and Meher and Abhay have covered everything, whatever was important for you all to know. Okay, and with this, we would call it a day for our session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the session. Janvi, Meher, and Abhay, thank you so much. You guys have been really sweet, and you agreed for the session even after you guys have been. I think you both, Janvi and Meher, had an exam. And Abhay, thank you so much. You have taken the efforts of actually making sure that you reply to my messages and you call me for all the times I have called you. I appreciate the efforts you guys have taken and been a part of the session. Thank you so much. And all the students, thank you so much for joining in. A lot of you have messaged and told me about ma'am recording would be available. Once it is there, it will be there on the portal, and we would, for non-enrolled students, we would be sharing it on the YouTube channel as well. And I hope the session was helpful. Quick raise of hand would be fine. I'll be happy to know that it was helpful.
I want to add one thing.
Go ahead, Janvi.
So I know this time is like very stressful because all of us have been through this time. And I just wished someone would have told me this that, guys, please do not take any tension. It's all going to be fine. You eventually fit into a college you're meant to be in. So just be yourself, work upon yourself, and it's just a matter of like a few more months. Then it'll all be fine. Trust me.
But please don't take interviews lightly. Actually,
Yeah, just be yourself in interviews. That's all.
Last thing you want to tell them?
All right, I'll give them a quick interview tip. If you don't know an answer to any question, just don't answer it. It would really look bad. So if you don't know any answers, just say that you had studied that question, the topic, but couldn't recall, or just say I don't know much about the question. So yeah.
That's a pro tip. That's definitely a pro tip. Uh, I hope you all enjoyed the session. A lot of you in the when I asked for the poll, you all have mentioned that we want symbiosis. So yay, we are getting symbiosis next month. I have been getting a lot of demands for symbiosis and Atlas. We will be getting it next month on the 22nd of November and 29th of November. So 2 Fridays. Make sure you book that particular date. 7 p.m. I would be seeing you on the 22nd with symbiosis and 29th with Atlas BBA. So thank you so much everyone for joining in, and you all have a lovely happy Diwali. Be safe. All of you, Meher, Janvi and Abhay, in advance, happy Diwali, and thank you so much for joining in. Bye bye. Bye bye everyone.